Hey everyone, I am really excited to bring you my Azul Unofficial Automa. This was only made possible because some solo community members donated on my geek list on BGG. So they said, we want you to do Azul. So I was able to pick up Azul and I got hard at work creating an Automa for it. So on BGG, you have two options. You have a high ink version, which is the version you'll see here, as well as a low ink version to save you on ink costs. When you print it out, you're going to get rules. You're also going to get an Automa board. I went ahead and laminated mine. You're going to get a 15 card mural deck. You're going to get a 12 card decision deck. And you're going to get one player aid that's going to go over how the AI named Emma scores at the end of the game for when you're playing on easy, normal, or hard. So to set up, you're going to give yourself a player board. You're going to take one of your scoring cubes and place it on 5, not 0, to start the game. You're going to take the Automa board and you're going to place it in an Automa area. You're going to take 2 cubes, and one of them is just going to go off the board for now. The other one is going to go on the score track depending on what difficulty you're playing on. If you're playing on easy, it goes on 0 to start the game. Normal, it goes on 5, which is the one that we're going to set up for here. And hard, it will go on 10. You're going to take a tile from the bag at random and place it on the first round marker on the AI's board, and then you're going to go ahead and fill up the factory displays with 4 tiles on each display, and you'll have the first player token here in the center of the table. Next, you're going to take the 12 card decision deck, go ahead and give that a shuffle, and I just like to place that here to the left of the AI board. And then finally, you're going to shuffle the mural deck, and you're going to fill the AI's board with 4 cards, starting with the left. The other murals you can place right next to the game board. As the game progresses, these are going to come off the board and you're going to refill from this deck. And just like that, you are ready to begin the game. In a game versus Emma, which is the Automa's name, you're going to be competing against her to create the most beautiful mosaic that you can. Additionally, during setup, you can choose to replace her masterpiece with one of these alternate masterpieces. We have Winter Storm, we have Starburst, United Front, and Reflection. For your first several games, I would just start with the masterpiece that comes printed on her board. To start the game, no matter what difficulty you're playing on, you're going to be the first player. This will change as the game progresses. The first player will be determined by whoever picked the first player marker, just like in a multiplayer game. You will take your turn as normal, taking a number of tiles of one color from a factory display, adding them to your board, and then putting the other ones that you didn't select to the center of the table. When it is Emma's turn, you're going to flip over cards from her decision deck to see what tiles she wants from the factory display. When setting up the game, instead of having the factory displays in a circle, we're going to have them in a straight line. And this is factory display 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is the center of the table for when cards reference the center or the C. You need to think of this as a loop. So if something goes to 1 and there's nothing there, it's going to loop to the center. Okay? If something goes to 5 and there's nothing there, some cards might tell it to go to the right, and if it goes to the right, it's going to go to the center. So think of this as a giant circle, and the 5 loops to the center and the 1 loops to the center. So let's see how that actually plays out. So when it is Emma's turn, you're simply going to flip over the top card of her decision deck. There's 3 important features on this card. An arrow, which we'll talk about here in a second, a factory display reference, and the priority for which tile she wants to select. So let's say this is her turn. She wants to go to factory display 1, and she wants to take all the red tiles from it. So in this case, she would simply take the 1 red tile that is there and put all of these to the board, the center of the table, and then this will go on her player board. And we'll go over what happens when she collects tiles here in a second. But let's say this is what the display looked like. She wants to go to factory display 1. There are tiles there, so that's good. And she wants red first. Well, there are no red, so then she moves to blue. There still are no blue. Yellow? Okay. So she'll get the yellow one, and all 3 of these will come to the center of the board. Let's say, for example, that she wants factory display 1, and there are no tiles there because either you or Emma have already gone there this round and taken the tiles off of it. Well, you reference the arrow that's on each card to see which factory display she moves to next. So in this case, she wants 1. There are no tiles there, so she will move to the left, looping around to the center of the table, and then she will look for red, nothing there, blue, then she would take the yellow. If the first player marker is here, it is at this point that she takes this, gets -1 point, and then you'll place this near her game board. That means she's going to go first next round. Let's say it's a future turn now, and she's going to go. She wants factory display number 2. There's nothing there, so she goes to the right this time. So she'll come here, and she'll look for red first. So she'll take all these reds and put all of those in the center. Let's say there's no tiles left on the factory display, so whenever she picks one, then she will just loop to the center and go based off priority. Alright, for this last example, let's say she pulls this special card. So this references the center, which is this right here. This says, Emma takes the color in the center with the most tiles. If the first player marker is the only tile in the center, she moves to the next factory display based off this arrow. So looking here, if this card were pulled, she would take the color with the most tiles, which are these 2 teal ones, and then she will add them to her board. But let's say that this is what it looked like. There's a tie for most. So this prioritization breaks the tie. So in this case, there is no blue, so she would take the red and add it to her board. Let's say it's the first turn of the round and there are no other color tiles in this, and she pulls this card. So she says, I want the center. There are no color tiles except for the first player marker. So instead of taking this, she will move to the left, going to factory display 1, and then take blue, then red, then white, then orange, and then black. You will continue doing this. You're taking a turn, she's taking a turn, adding tiles to your boards until there are no tiles left on any factory displays or the center of the table. So what happens when she actually takes tiles and adds them to her board? Well, whenever she takes a tile or a number of tiles, she's always going to look to fill her murals first before working on her masterpiece. Her murals are going to be the main way that she scores throughout the game. Her masterpiece is going to allow her to score at the end of the game. So based on the color chosen, you're going to place these on her murals, trying to complete them so that she can score points. On these cards, you're going to see a different number of squares. This one has 3, this one has 3, this one has 4, this one has 7. And there's others among the mural deck. When Emma takes these, she's always going to look to try to fill the card in this slot right here. This is slot 1. She is going to look to try to place these on red squares first, and if there are no red squares, then she will try to place them on wild squares. Wild squares are gray, and so in this case, she would place both of these on these 2 slots. But let's say, for instance, these cards were swapped, and she just gained these. Then she will try to place on this mural card, since this is the one in slot 1, and you see that it has a red banner. So looking here, she will place the first one on this red square first, and then she can place this one on the wild. In this example, when she collected her 2 red, she would try to place it on the card in slot 1, but only a yellow or a blue can go there. So then she will move to the card in slot 2 and she will place them like so. In the event that she couldn't place any on this slot card, she then would follow suit to this next one. And if she couldn't do it here, she would go to this top one. And if she couldn't do it here, then she gets to work on her masterpiece. So if none of these cards had any red or gray, or they had already been filled up by other wilds or reds, then she would attempt to put these on her masterpiece. Just like these cards, she wants to put these on the matching color spaces first. It is your choice where they go if there's multiple open. So I could go here, and I could go here, or I could go here, or I could go here. But let's say that she had just pulled this tile, and all of these cards were either filled or they didn't have red on them, and then she went to go place it on here. Well, all the reds are now taken up. So she can place this on one of the 4 wild squares. If those happen to be filled up, as well as all the type of that one color, then this gets added to the game box lid as a broken tile. Normally, you would score negative points for broken tiles, or for you for placing them on your floor, but Emma never scores negative points for broken tiles. For me, I use the box that came in Summer Pavilion, and I just put them in there. Let's say it is now Emma's turn, and she just pulled these 2 blue. Well, she places one here, because there's a blue spot there, and hey, there's a wild, so she'll go ahead and place one here. And after you get done placing all of Emma's tiles, you're going to check the 4 mural cards, and if any of them have been fully completed, such as the cases with this one, you're going to go ahead and resolve that card. You're going to check to see if there's any special actions. Some cards don't have special actions and just score her victory points. But other cards have these 2 actions when completed. When this is completed, you're going to draw a tile without looking from the bag, and you're going to place it on her masterpiece. So I'm drawing a random tile. It is a blue, so now I have to place this on her masterpiece. Let's go here. You then have to draw one tile, take one tile from this card, and put it on our masterpiece. So in this case, we have to take one of these and place them on her masterpiece, and the other one will go to the broken tile area. So let's say I pick this one, and then I put it here. You then score Emma 4 points by moving her marker up, and then this will be discarded from the game. For cards that don't have any special actions, then you simply remove all the tiles, put them in the broken tile area, and then score her the appropriate number of points by moving up her score. After you've removed any cards from the mural board, you're going to slide any remaining cards over to the left or down, and you can follow the arrows. This will free up spots, and you're going to go ahead and refill. There are times that she might fill multiple cards up with a single pull of tiles. Maybe she gets 3 blues and that filled up 2 cards. Then you resolve one card after the other, starting with the card on the left. So I would resolve this card if that was the case. Then I would resolve this card, and then at the end, when I'm done resolving, then you move all the other ones down and you refill the slots. Remember, where you place tiles is very strategic, because at the end of the game, she's going to score a number of in-game victory points based on however many completed rows and how many completed columns she gets. On easy, she's going to get 2 points for each row completed and each column completed. On normal, she gets 5 per column and row, and on hard, she gets 8 points per column and row completed. Additionally, on easy, she's going to get -2 points for each empty square that she has on her masterpiece. She took too much time working on her murals, and she didn't spend enough time working on her masterpiece, so she's going to get negative points for playing on easy. If, when adjusting her score, she ever goes past 50, then just leave the marker at 50, and then start moving the other marker on her board. If she ever were to go past 100, then simply move this down to 100, and then continue moving your other marker. Once all the tiles have been drawn from the center of the board, from the factory displays and the center area, and there's no more, then you're going to score your end of round scoring just like you would in a normal multiplayer game. Emma only scores for her murals that happen during her turn, and then if she takes the first player marker, she'll score a negative point when she takes it, and then the only other scoring she gets is for her masterpiece at the end of the game. To start a new round, you simply take the first player marker, you put it back in the center of the board, you remember which of you took it. So in this case, starting round 2, Emma took the first player marker, she's going to go first. You're going to draw a random tile from the bag, you're going to mark which round you're on, you're going to take her decision deck, and you're going to give it a shuffle, creating a new 12 card decision deck for her for the next round. And then you're going to refill the factory display with 4 tiles. You will play for 5 rounds, and at the end of the 5th round, you're going to see who has the total number of victory points. If there is a tie is broken just like in a multiplayer game, where whoever has completed the most horizontal rows wins the game. If there is still a tie, it's whoever is in possession of the first player marker at the end of the game. That's who wins. And with that, you now know how to play a game against Emma. If I could give you one piece of strategy advice, is if you only focus on your player board trying to maximize this, you will lose. You have to be very aware of which tiles she needs to complete murals, and you have to take them from her at times, even if that gives you negative points. Don't be afraid to take tiles that give you negative points if it prevents her from taking like 5 blue and is going to complete a lot of cards. You have to be aware of what the tiles that she could possibly take, how it affects her murals, as well as how does it affect her masterpiece. Is she going to put one in the center because there's no other place for it to go, and that's going to complete 3 rows or 3 columns. On easy, she is designed to score between 50 and 65 points. You can increase or decrease that amount by your play and how you make her play. On normal, she's going to score anywhere between 60 and 90 points. If she's scoring between 85 and 95 points, I would look to see how you are playing the game and how you could better minimize the points that she's scoring, because you can definitely get that number down in the 60s. I've seen it in play testing. I would start out on normal, and if you find it too hard, jump down to easy. If you find normal too easy, which I doubt, but some of you out there are very, very smart, smarter than me, then go ahead and move it up to hard. Emma on hard is going to be scoring north of 90 points. So if you're up for a challenge and you want to try to see if you can beat her on hard, good luck. But for me, I tend to play on normal, and even then I win like 2 out of every 10. But some of my play testers have a 50% win rate on normal, so it is definitely beatable. You just have to adjust your strategy based off the tiles and the cards that come out. And if you do that, you are going to have a real fighting chance against her. So with that, good luck. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on my geek list, on the files page, on this YouTube video. Look out for a full playthrough coming, and I wish you the best of luck.